Hi guys, second already. I believe it goes so fast. I've been meaning for quite a few days to talk to you about a Santos Bonnacci video. It's a short, and he's okay with you sharing his stuff as long as you link the location of where you sourced it. But I can't actually find the location of where this was sourced from. But what I can do is link his video channel below. But basically, he's talking about the story of Pinocchio. So I'm just going to rewind it a bit and turn the sound down. And it's relevant. It's relevant to this year because I think that this year is everything about walking your talk. It's about consolidating what we lived through last year in relation to becoming more empowered and more bold and more real and more realistic in relation to what we're facing here in everything in our world. So being absolutely brutally realistic without being rude, just speaking our truth. And it also comes down very much to relating to the outside world from this perspective of self. So you can say to somebody, I don't want to do something simply because I don't feel comfortable doing it. It isn't anything to do with you. So you can bring it back to self and you can communicate that way more softly. So, anyway, about this. So, what he's talking about is Pinocchio's broken down into two words: pine, pineal gland, and occhio, the eye. Occhio being Italian for the eye. And that's why in occultus, Pinocchio means the pineal gland, Pinocchio. So, Pinocchio is a puppet, he's not a real person. So, this relates to ourselves in relation to prior to us becoming self-responsible, which the modern word for that, I guess, is woke, except that woke's got some funny, um, if you like, look it up. Now it's got some very strong affiliations to political gains, and I don't mean it in that respect. I don't mean it in relation to political memes. I mean it in relation to do you have the capacity to be self-responsible, or are you not a real person? Are you still doing the bidding of others because it's easier to just let others to take the control rather than taking the responsibility to do it all yourself? Um, anyway, so Pinocchio is not a real person. And I watched the movie the other night, and what I came up with was I'd completely forgotten about Jiminy Cricket. And when I was talking to Ginger about it, um, Jiminy Cricket, Ginger was mentioning that back in I mean, that movie came out in the 1940s, but it became quite trendy to say the word Jiminy Cricket as a swear word. It's JC, of course. So it's like instead of saying, I guess, Jesus Christ, you say Jiminy Cricket. And it became quite trendy to do that back in the 60s, I think. I don't know whether they still do it now. But um, so Jiminy Cricket is basically Pinocchio's conscience. Um, the fairy comes along and she grants, I can't remember what the guy's name is, the guy that makes the puppets. She grants him the wish of making Pinocchio into a real boy. But when she's granting the wish, she says to Pinocchio, there's only one way that you can get to being a real boy, and that's to be brave, to be truthful, to be unselfish, and to know the difference between right and wrong. And he asks the question, and he says, well, how will I know the difference between right and wrong? And she says, because your conscience will tell you so. And then she says your conscience is this small voice inside of you. But in this case, she external or in the cartoon, they externalize it and make it Jiminy Cricket. So the interesting thing is, she also says, always let your conscience be your guide. And at a later date, he gets enticed to sort of join this puppet show, uh, fame and fortune and money and all the rest of it. But Jiminy Cricket comes along and he says to him, "Well, what does an actor want with consciousness? Oh, sorry, what does an actor want with a conscience anyway?" So that's an interesting statement. If you're an actor, you don't need a conscience. Hmm. Um, so she also sings the lyrics to When You Wish Upon the Star. This is the very. And if you kind of have a listen to that, that's quite pertinent too, because it's about putting basically where your focus goes grows, whatever you're focusing on once. So they're basically telling you that within this. Anyway, I'll carry on with this. So what he's talking about is you have to stop telling lies. And as far as telling lies are concerned, it's not just about the blatant ones. It's not about necessarily saying, um, I've been to the telling lies about where you've been or who you've been with or whatever. It's not that kind of lies we're talking about. I'm talking about the really, really, really deep stuff that we don't even realize that we're doing, the subconscious lying, um, the denying of something, or even the exaggeration. Even when I say to you, there's a God, there was 1,000 people at the shops today and there was only 10. They're lies too, even though we may not realize it. We could just be lying for exaggeration purposes or to make a story sound better. They're not as, I mean, it's all the lying's got to stop. We need to refine ourselves, be the best version of ourselves in order to get through what it is that we're going to be transversing through without being contaminated by the corruption, because the corruption is right. So stop telling lies, um, and stop being deceived by your friends. So this bit's a bit crucial too, because we have a tendency to go along with stuff that we might not approve of or agree with, just because it's easier or whatever, rather than getting up and leaving. I remember many years ago going out for a lunch with a group of like 10 girls. And I mean, I've been working with these girls for years. I've been working with them for more than 10 years. And I went out for lunch. I was at the middle of the table, but suddenly acknowledged that these girls weren't my friends anymore. They weren't. I was at this lunch and people were talking, but I didn't really relate to anything that they were saying. And I ended up actually leaving, getting up and leaving in the middle of the lunch. And then later on that afternoon, this friend of mine turned up at the house and told me I hadn't paid. Anyway, subconsciously, I think I just got this message that just said, I've got to get out of here because this is no longer right for me. So being deceived by your friends, got to stop going to shows and circuses. Well, I'm sure that not many of you go to circuses at the moment, but it perhaps relates to watching a lot of maybe YouTube or Netflix or something like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stop being entertained, but maybe stop being influenced by it. Stop trying to stimulate yourself through the shows and the circuses, and instead try and find more, I don't know, nature pursuits or pursuits that are better for you. Um, all the philosophers have ever said, getting drunk, intoxicated with drugs try to be sober. So the pineal gland, the third eye, is your highest consciousness. And if you want to be real, just read the story of Pinocchio and activate your pineal gland. So um, that was one thing. The other thing that I sort of wanted to talk to you about, which is not related at all, is I was just chatting with a friend yesterday. We're talking about chains around our neck, wearing chains. And, and then I was talking to her about the implication of somebody giving you a chain. And it's almost like a collar, like somebody giving you a chain as a gift and then you put it around your neck. You know, it's almost like slavery. It's like a depiction of I own you or something. So just like kind of talking about that yesterday, like a bit weird. And I think that's about it. Oh, I did want to clarify coming into this year of what I think that this year is going to be about. So I think last year we sort of summed up last year through coming through with basically refining our own state of mind, refining ourselves so we could be brave and we could be strong and we could be courageous. But this year is all about walking your talk. It's about doing what you say you're going to do and about realizing that you're doing things that are not good for you or that you're doing things through peer pressure and the realization of that and to stop doing it. And then I wanted to also show you this, which is some pictures I saw on something, and I thought, oh my goodness, that's beautiful. So these are actually floors of different ancient buildings, but look at the intricacy of that, and it's in a ruins. So is that one in a ruins? Look at that. Look at the design and everything. I just thought it was beautiful. There's another one. And this one here, it's obviously like a tree of life or something. Make a really lovely painting that. If anybody wants any of these pictures, let me know and I can send them to you. It's very pretty. Look at the art in that. I don't even know how you do that. Anyway. Right, so that's it from me. Thanks for listening. And if you've got any comments, let me know below and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.